Hi everyone, it's Anthony. Today I'm going to share with you some tips about learning Japanese by yourself. The subject is about supports. When I started learning Japanese by my own, I didn't know which resources were effective. I remembered that I bought a cheap small book which is called Le Japonais pour les nuls. I really don't recommend it. After that, I was looking for on the internet tips from others, and thanks to the internet, I discovered an old book which called Minano Nihongo. It means in Japanese language for all. I discovered that this book was used for a while by universities which taught Japanese in France. And I'm surprising that nowadays Minano Nihongo is still using by universities. This book was so old that they must made an update of this book to be more beautiful. Therefore, I decided to try French universities which teach Japanese, and I bought them. In fact, there are two books of Minano Nihongo. One book which is the level 1 and the other is the level 2. Each book contains translation and grammar constructions. As a beginner, I bought these books in French to have a better understanding of Japanese. As you can see in these books, there are 25 chapters in this book, and 25 other chapters in this book. For each chapter, there are pages for vocabulary, where on the left side there are Japanese vocabulary writing in hiragana, which is Japanese alphabet, and on the right side there are the translation in French. Then on the other page there are some grammar construction as explanations and examples. I highly recommend it if you want to start learning Japanese. I think that I bought them around 20-25 euro. Another book that I really recommend is Shinkansen Master. How I knew it? It's also thanks to the internet, thanks to videos on YouTube from learners which share their tips, because in contrary with other books, Shinkansen Master have a lot of examples, a lot of sentences to exercise. As you can see, a lot of examples, and on the right page a lot of sentences that I could exercise. Shinkansen Master offers many books about the grammar, listening comprehension, vocabulary, reading comprehension, and kanji for each level. I bought only the N4 grammar. The little problem is explanations about the grammar constructions are in English. So for people who are not really comfortable with English, I think that best start is to not buy this book. But I must say that one day, if you want to continue to progress in Japanese by yourself, it's sure that you need to be familiar with English, because there are only books which are translated in English. I think that this book costs around 20 euro. Another support that I highly recommend is to learn Japanese on YouTube. I remembered that while I was learning Japanese during March 2020, there are some grammar points that I didn't clearly understand with books, I decided to find answers, and I heard by chance on a Japanese native speaker who teach Japanese on YouTube. The two YouTubers that I highly recommend are, the first one is Miku Real Japanese, in which I like their videos because thanks to her I could learn a lot of information about the grammar construction, the listening comprehension, and also she makes videos creating funny story with funny characters. And also second one is Japanese Amo with Misa, in which there are many videos about the grammar construction. I like this channel because I learn a lot of information and she explains really well. Currently I'm learning Japanese with her channel. And finally, I would like to share with you a fun application. Is not with Rosetta Stone, whose I tested, and I think this application is not efficient as I said, but it's high native. I highly recommend because as a self-learner, I would like to practice Japanese with grammar constructions that I learned. Thanks to this application, I could write Japanese sentences, and after a moment, a Japanese native speaker corrects my sentences. It's really useful because I could learn my mistakes and I progress with Japanese. So that's all for today. I hope that my video was helpful in order to start learning Japanese by yourself. If you have some questions about learning Japanese, don't hesitate to ask me. I will answer you with pleasure. We will see for a next video. Bye bye.